Shohei Ohtani's pitching comeback is taking longer than many fans might expect for several key reasons. 1. Second elbow surgery and conservative rehab timeline. Ohtani underwent elbow surgery in September 2023, his second surgery on that arm following his Tommy John procedure at the end of the 2018 season. Given that teams tend to adopt more conservative rehabilitation timelines for players undergoing a second major elbow surgery, his recovery is being managed with extreme caution. Comparisons with peers like Jacob deGrom, who needed about 15 months after a second Tommy John surgery, suggest that a 20 to 22-month timeline is plausible for Ohtani. The Dodgers are not in a rush to risk an early return that could jeopardize his long-term health and performance. 2. Additional shoulder surgery. In addition to his elbow work, Ohtani suffered a separate injury during the playoffs. He hurt his left shoulder while sliding into second base on a steal attempt. Although he played through that injury in the Fall Classic, he later underwent surgery to repair the shoulder in November. This additional injury has likely required the Dodgers to pause or reorient his pitching program to focus on proper recovery, further extending the overall timeline for his return on the mound. 3. Two-way demands and split focus. Unlike any other player in MLB history, Ohtani carries the weight of being an everyday hitter as well as one of the league's premier pitchers. This two-way role means that even when he's not throwing in a bullpen session, he's busy contributing offensively in every game. The constant dual demands prevent him from dedicating 100% of his energy to pitching rehabilitation. Instead, his routine includes brief bullpen work, like the session at Nationals Park, where he's been cautiously reintroducing his fastball and splitter. However, he hasn't yet thrown his breaking balls off the mound, nor has he been able to give all his pitches maximum effort. 4. Strategic management by the Dodgers. The Dodgers, with their deep and talented pitching staff, are perfectly positioned to be patient with Ohtani's recovery. With a loaded rotation that includes Tyler Glasnow, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Roki Sasaki, Dustin May, and a returning trio of Tony Gonsolin, Clayton Kershaw, and Emmett Sheehan, the team can afford to wait until Ohtani is truly ready. Manager Dave Roberts and the Dodgers' medical staff are focused on ensuring that when Ohtani does make his return, potentially around the All-Star break, it will be in a way that doesn't jeopardize his long-term performance. In summary, Ohtani's prolonged absence from the pitching mound stems from the compounded effects of a second major elbow surgery, necessitating a conservative, extended rehab period, an additional shoulder surgery that disrupted his throwing program, and the inherent challenge of balancing daily hitting responsibilities with a full-on pitching comeback. All these factors, combined with the Dodgers' strategic decision to protect one of baseball's most valuable and unique talents, indicate that fans will need a bit more patience before Ohtani can rejoin the pitching rotation at full strength.
What's going on, baseball fans? The anticipation is building as we all eagerly await the return of Shohei Ohtani to the pitcher's mound. The Dodgers superstar has been lighting it up at the plate, but it's his unparalleled two-way ability that makes him a true phenomenon. So, why is his pitching comeback taking longer than some might expect? Let's dive into the details and break down the timeline for Ohtani's potential return to the Dodgers rotation. The video you sent over provides some excellent insights into Shohei Ohtani's recovery process. As you know, Ohtani underwent elbow surgery back in September of 2023. While the specifics weren't explicitly mentioned in this article, it's widely understood to be his second Tommy John surgery. This is a significant procedure that requires an extensive rehabilitation period. It's now April 2025, and while Ohtani has been a dominant force in the Dodgers lineup as a hitter, even hitting for power as recently as this week, he has yet to take the mound in a big league game since that surgery. This has understandably left many fans wondering about the progress of his recovery. According to the article, Ohtani himself recently spoke about his recovery, stating that he is still at the stage in which I have limits on the types of pitches I can throw and limits on speed. This indicates that while he is throwing, he hasn't yet reached the point where he can unleash his full repertoire at maximum velocity. The report also mentions that Ohtani still hasn't thrown breaking balls off a mound. Breaking balls, like curveballs and sliders, put different stresses on the elbow. So this is a significant step in the recovery process that he hasn't yet cleared. His next major milestone will be throwing live batting practice to hitters. This would simulate game conditions more closely and allow both Ohtani and the Dodgers staff to gauge his readiness. Interestingly, he was close to reaching this stage last year before his throwing program was paused during the playoffs. So, what's the potential timeline for Ohtani's return to pitching? The article suggests that the best-case scenario could see him back in the Dodgers rotation in about 6 weeks from the time this article was written. Given that this article seems to be from around mid-April 2025, that would put a potential return sometime around late May or early June. However, it's crucial to note that neither Ohtani nor the Dodgers have offered a definitive timeline. And this remains a best-case scenario. The general expectation around the Dodgers organization right now is that an Ohtani pitching comeback before the end of June looks unlikely. A return around the All-Star break in mid-July is considered a more realistic possibility. If he were to return around that time, it would put his total rehab time at approximately 22 months, which is significantly longer than the typical recovery period for Tommy John surgery. The article even provides a comparison to fellow Dodger Tony Gonzalez, who had Tommy John surgery around the same time as Ohtani and made his first minor league rehab start after a shorter period. The video you shared also highlights some key reasons why Ohtani's recovery might be taking longer. Firstly, this is his second Tommy John surgery. After having undergone the procedure previously in 2018, teams often adopt a more conservative approach for players who have had a second elbow surgery to minimize the risk of re-injury. The article mentions the example of Jacob deGrom, who needed about 15 months to return from his second Tommy John surgery. Another significant factor that might be contributing to the extended timeline is a different injury Ohtani sustained during the playoffs. He hurt his left shoulder while sliding into second base during Game 2 of the World Series. He played through the remainder of the Fall Classic but ultimately underwent surgery to repair the shoulder in November. This shoulder surgery would have undoubtedly required its own rehabilitation process, likely forcing Ohtani to pause or adjust his throwing program for his elbow, thus further extending the timeline for his pitching comeback. The video also points out the unique challenge of Ohtani being an everyday hitter at an MVP level while simultaneously trying to recover from major elbow and shoulder surgeries. No other pitcher in MLB history has attempted a second elbow surgery comeback while also serving as a regular hitter in the lineup. The demands of hitting every day mean that Ohtani can't dedicate 100% of his focus and energy to his pitching rehab, while he has found time to throw before games, as he did last season. The dual demands are certainly a factor in the cautious approach being taken. Finally, the video emphasizes the Dodgers' own situation as a contributing factor to the timeline. With a deep and talented pitching staff, including names like Tyler Glasnow, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and others, the Dodgers aren't under immense pressure to rush Ohtani back to the mound. They have the depth to compete at a high level without him pitching, and their primary focus is likely on ensuring his long-term health and effectiveness, especially with their sights set on another World Series title. Timing his return with the most meaningful games later in the season makes strategic sense for the team. Interestingly, the article notes that there haven't been any reports of setbacks in Ohtani's recovery. Dodgers manager Dave Roberts has even described the team's collaboration with Ohtani as being in lockstep. And Ohtani himself has echoed this sentiment, emphasizing the importance of being conservative and thoughtful given that this is his second elbow operation. So, while the millions of Shohei Ohtani fans around the world are understandably eager to see him back on the mound, it appears that we'll have to wait a little longer. The combination of a second Tommy John surgery, a subsequent shoulder surgery, the demands of being an everyday hitter, and the Dodgers' pitching depth are all contributing to a cautious and methodical approach to his pitching comeback. The current expectation seems to be a potential return around the All-Star break in mid-July. But as always with Ohtani, we'll have to stay tuned for further updates. What are your thoughts on Ohtani's recovery timeline? Are you surprised it's taking this long? How excited are you to see him pitch again for the Dodgers? Share your opinions in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more MLB news and updates, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our future content. We'll see you in the next one.